AI is everywhere nowadays, and since privacy is what I do for a living,
Oh, wait, you serious?
I figured it'd be fun to see how well it does. We're gonna start with simple stuff here. Is privacy important? All right, yes, privacy is important for several reasons. It allows individuals to maintain control over their personal information and protect their identities. This is actually really good. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. This is really solid. I really like this, especially how it maintains personal relationships. That's something that not many people talk about. So huge fan of this answer. The only thing I would add is it would have been cool to cite some actual things, like how privacy is not just a fundamental right that's, based on ChatGPT's opinion, but it'd be cool if they cited the fact that privacy is actually listed in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is what we pretty much use as our definition of what are basic human rights in this day and age. What should I do to prevent getting caught up in a data breach? If you follow surveillance support, you know that we cover like countless data breaches every week. I'm not going to read this whole thing off. But step 1, use strong and unique passwords. Step 2, enable two-factor authentication. Step 3, be cautious of phishing emails. Step 4, keep your software up to date. Step 5, be careful what you share online. Step 6, use a reputable antivirus program. And step 7, monitor your accounts for suspicious activities. I love all of this, actually with the exception of 6. I'd give this an 8 out of 10 answer. Nowadays, on both Windows and Mac OS, you already have built-in native anti-malware support, and you don't really need to download a new reputable antivirus program. Though for the record, ChatGPT isn't necessarily saying that you should, but this is definitely the implication. If I'm someone new to the privacy world and I read this answer, I would probably be like, okay, I need to find an antivirus program to purchase and use, when in reality, you don't need it on mobile devices, you don't need it on Windows, you don't need it on Mac OS. If the world stuck to these steps, with the exception of 6, the whole world would be a lot safer and these data breaches would be a lot less of a problem. All right, up next, this is kind of a common question we get. Should I be using a VPN or Tor? A VPN is a service that encrypts your internet traffic and routes it through a remote server. This can help protect your online privacy and security by hiding your IP address and location, as well as encrypting your internet traffic. VPNs are often used for activities such as accessing geo-restricted content or connecting to public Wi-Fi networks securely. On the other hand, Tor is a free and open source software that routes your internet traffic through a network of servers, making it difficult to trace your online activity back to your physical location. Tor is often used for activities that require a high level of anonymity, such as accessing the dark web or communicating with whistleblowers. Both VPNs and Tor have their advantages and disadvantages, and the choice between the two depends on your specific needs and priorities. VPNs are generally easier to use and often faster internet speeds, but they may not provide the same level of anonymity as Tor. Tor, on the other hand, is slower and may not be suitable for activities, but it offers a higher level of anonymity. Ultimately, whether you should use a VPN or Tor depends on your specific needs and circumstances. Honestly, this is almost a perfect answer. This is almost word for word what I like to tell people when they ask me the difference between a VPN or Tor. So this is absolutely phenomenal. Very impressed with this response. A 10 out of 10 answer in my book. What messengers should I use for strong privacy and security? This is ChatGPT's recommended messengers. Signal's number 1, WhatsApp is number 2, Telegram is number 3, Wickr number 4, Threema is a 5. All of these messaging apps offer strong privacy and security features, but it's important to keep in mind that no app can offer 100% security. It's also important to use strong passwords, enable two-factor authentication where possible, and be cautious of phishing attempts and other security threats. Regarding the actual recommendations, I am a fan of Signal being there. You brought up Session, and I was thinking of comments. We get like a million comments about Session. People think that like we shield Signal back here, which yes, I kind of do, but also like I feel like I give Signal the amount of love that it deserves, and I also crap on it when it deserves crap. And aside from that, I'm actually not a fan of the rest of the recommendations. I would be a big fan of them recommending Briar or maybe even Session. Over things like Telegram. I guess what they don't really mention here is that Telegram is a cloud-based messaging app that offers end-to-end encryption, but that's not a default, and also it doesn't apply to all of their features. I'd give this like a 5 out of 10. I'm pretty disappointed in this response.
Get used to disappointment.
Another question, what password manager should I be using? LastPass, no! No, 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 no. All right, LastPass rant incoming. LastPass is pretty much paid for now because their free plan is a joke, is not open source, has suffered countless security and data incidents in the past. I, at this point, consider LastPass completely untrusted. Do not use LastPass if you care about your security and you want your passwords to stay safe. They have straight up leaked people's vaults at this point. It's a joke. Don't use LastPass. One Password, on the other hand, I am a fan of. They are proprietary and all of that, but they actually have a very strong security practices, and their team knows what the hell they're doing, unlike LastPass. Bitwarden is probably our go-to recommendation. You're going to see Bitwarden as well out there. It's open source, it's cloud-based, and it's probably my go-to recommendation for people who want a traditional cloud-based password manager. I don't have too much beef with Dashlane, but I would almost always push people towards Bitwarden, and if they don't like Bitwarden, then 1Password is an option. Now, the one thing that's really missing here is KeePass. KeePass is probably one of the best options. Kind of weird to not see KeePass on this list. This one's an interesting one. Is open source software more secure than proprietary software? It's one of my biggest pet peeves. Because just because something's open source doesn't inherently make it more secure. It makes it more transparent and trustworthy, and it gives the ability to have more oversight over the software, but that doesn't necessarily make it more secure. Honestly, this is really good. I'd give this a 9 out of 10. You can have open source software with terrible security practices, and everything is done in a very loosey-goosey way, and it's not actually done with proper oversight from real security people who know what the hell they're doing. And on the other hand, you can have proprietary software that, even though it's not being publicly vetted, at least you have a team behind it that knows what the hell they're doing, and they're building things in a very secure way. You still need to assess the software to make sure it's secure. Just because it's open source is not a cop-out as to it being secure software. If I'm in a situation where my own government is trying to spy on my movements and digital devices, what should I do to protect myself? If you're in a situation where your own government is trying to spy on your movements and digital devices, there are several steps you can take to protect yourself. Use a secure operating system. Considering using things like this that kind of bug me, use a secure operating system. Consider using a privacy-focused operating system. Those are two different things. Okay, you can have a very secure operating system that's not designed for privacy, Chrome OS, or you can use a privacy-focused operating system without an emphasis on security. Use encryption, encrypt your communications like using PGP or Signal, and encrypt your files and hard drives using tools like Veracrypt or BitLocker. Nice recommendation. Use a virtual private network. If you're being spied on by the government, I'd probably be using Tor or something more foolproof, but I guess using a VPN is better than using nothing. and seek expert advice. That's probably the biggest one here. If you're in this situation and you're able to lean on expert advice, you need that expert advice, because every situation is going to be very individual, and there's going to be lots of little nuances to every particular situation. It depends what government you're going against. It depends what your individual situation is like. If you have access to money, if you have access to certain devices, if you have access to certain tools, it depends what kind of information you need to protect. If you're still trying to publish content to the world, or if you're trying to publish articles while you're trying to protect yourself, that's different than you just trying to hide everything. So there's all these little things, and that's where that expert advice comes in. I'd give this like a 7 out of 10. I think there's some missing nuance here, and there's a little bit, and here's kind of the general problem I see with ChatGPT. It's good at, bringing things up that are valid points, but this together, these 7 points together, are not actually a coherent strategy to fight a government. That's the missing nuance, that's the missing perspective that ChatGPT, as of today, just cannot offer. And actually, this ties into the final bit of this video, which is, I think I still have a job. I think ChatGPT today did overall really well. I'm impressed with some of the stuff it was able to recommend and do, but when we start getting into the more complicated questions, we really start to see the quality start to drop pretty quickly. Make sure to join our Patreon, patreon.com/Techlore. We literally rely on all of our supporters and all of you people watching to keep this content going for free. Our goal is to spread privacy and security to the masses, and you can directly help us do that. Seriously, go check out our Patreon. There's some fun perks there for you.